The wine cellar, he swore, was fully booked. The calendar square arrived at 6:02 p.m., neat as a place setting. Founders Banquet, St. Rock Hotel, late. 2 minutes later, Liam texted, "Don't wait up. Banquet manager wants a quick walkthrough of the pairing menu. Proud of me." Read he spends the heart when the rest of the sentence wants diplomatic immunity. I turned the sauce to the kind of simmer that calls itself maturity and looked across the avenue at the St. Rock's limestone grin. The hotel's awnings pretended to be modest. The corner bar wore a halo of people who knew where to be seen. The square on my phone pulsed once and then behaved. I rinsed a clean spoon because, on some nights, unnecessary is the only honest verb available. At 6:27, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize and a message that recognized me anyway. If pairings are upstairs, why did he badge the cellar door? Alley entrance off Bernard. Censor hates being watched. Stand left of the brass plate. I can stall the sweep 2 minutes. It was signed with a single letter, J, as if the alphabet had leaned its shoulder into a hinge and promised to keep it from squeaking. Jonah runs back of house at the St. Rock with the calm of a man who can convince a souffle to delay its decisions. He and Liam trade competence like line cooks trade burns. He and I have shared 2 cigarettes behind the loading dock and 1 laugh under a leaking gutter that made rain look flirtatious. We did not touch. We remember not touching more clearly than most men remember touching. "Why tell me?" I wrote. "Because your calendar is polite and my badge logs aren't," he sent. Because he looked up before he swiped. People only look up there when they want oxygen. Because the cellar is fully booked the way champagne is hydration. Bernard Alley smelled like lemon peels and secrets. The brass plate thought about catching me and decided not to. The reader blinked like a polite lie. The door learned cooperation and let me in. A narrow stair spiraled down, cooler with each step. The cellar corridor breathed like a sleeping animal, cold stone, cork dust, the quiet arrogance of bottles that outlive apologies. The door to the tasting vault was propped with a folded linen. Inside, rows of bottles slept behind iron, their shoulders tilted like confidences. A tasting table stood under a pendant lamp, clean as intent. Liam was there, jacket off, shirt open 1 button past credible, sleeves folded back like he wanted to appear unarmed. Opposite him, resting 2 fingers on the table's edge as if to audit the oak, stood Victor Salton, developer donor, a rumor that wore cufflinks. Victor's hand hovered near Liam's wrist without landing, because proximity photographs better than contact when you intend to invoice discretion. "Fully booked looks intimate," I said from the doorway. Liam turned. For 1 beat, truth used his face like a window, then the public version returned from whatever mirror it lives in. "Ben," he said, how did?" "Jonah believes in nouns," I said. "I believe in doors." Victor smiled in the language of benevolent malice. "We were discussing terroir," he said. "Donors enjoy evidence that their money learns geography." "I prefer geography that keeps its clothes on," I said. Liam shifted and allowed the table to claim his posture. "We're confirming the magnums for table 7, he said. He wanted to taste the 8 side by side with the 10. 2 minutes, Victor said, palms up, the universal gesture for indemnity. The sommelier is easily distracted by romance. I am not. He drifted 3 steps down the aisle to consider a bin of Burgundy that behaved like old money in winter. As he passed, 2 fingers tapped Liam's shoulder, punctuation, not persuasion. The cork dust didn't bother to notice. Liam watched me like men watch the weather when they've already chosen to walk. "I was going to text you," he said, lower now, the voice he keeps for mornings and the soft under my jaw. "After. I wanted to know I could leave this room without it correcting me. You wanted to be caught, I said. Not punished, caught. He let out a careful breath, the kind you practice in mirror-lit rooms. Yes. There is a temperature at which grammar resigns. I crossed the short distance and kissed him because glass is honest and deserves witnesses. He kissed back with the relief of a man who's been rehearsing restraint for people who are proud of not needing it. He tasted like Hotel Pinot and the cold air of storage. My thumb found the hinge of his jaw and pressed. He made the small, involuntary sound I keep receipts for. His palm slid under my shirt and settled flat between my shoulder blades like a promise that declines to be notarized. We didn't undress. We let the iron gates and bottles supervise. He broke the kiss first because he knows the exact second heat applies for narrative. He rested his forehead against mine and let breath stand in for grammar. I didn't kiss him, he said. I wanted to want to. I texted Jonah instead. You did, I said. He prefers oxygen to salvage. From the aisle, Victor tilted his head with the careful interest of men who always know where the light is. He didn't move closer. The pendant lamp performed neutrality. Come home, Liam said. After I thanked the man who delayed the sweep, I said. Jonah waited in the corridor, hands in pockets, key ring quiet. He didn't smile. He also didn't make mercy expensive. House is about to pretend it's disciplined, he said. If you don't want to be a training exercise, take the linen chute stairs and exit through laundry. Cameras there believe every hamper is innocent. You sent the message, I said. I opened a door, he said. You two remembered the rest. Laundry smelled like steam-learned manners. We passed a wall of warm machines that sounded like applause that had chosen to be supportive. Outside, the alley had decided to be respectable. We walked home the long way so no one could assign us a narrative for free. In the kitchen, the sauce forgave me for believing it would wait. We ate standing like mammals who know where the bowls live. He told me Victor had spent a month sculpting a compliment into a proposition, and he had helped because selection feels like love when usefulness has emptied your pockets. I told him Jonah had texted because some men prefer air and some prefer alibis. It pays to memorize who stalks which. He didn't ask whether Jonah and I had ever been colossally stupid together. I didn't describe the way steam turns his mouth into punctuation behind the dishwashers. We didn't fight. There wasn't a theater left to sell. Later, in bed, we left a sliver of cool like a reservation and then let it surrender because the night had already billed us for too much restraint. He kissed me with the steadiness I trust more than policy. I put my mouth where his jaw goes humble and told it a morning. It was heat without witnesses. The building minded its radiators. The hotel across the avenue practiced applause for people who needed it. Morning behaved. Coffee made its case. The calendar square for tonight stayed blank, the kink we can afford. Liam tied a tie over a throat I intend to retire with patience and kissed me like a door that already knew our names. He left to supervise a luncheon that believed in adjectives. At 9:14, a text arrived from a number saved under one letter. No cellar cams saw anything but corks. I looped a training clip of inventory audit for 20. Consider it education. Jay, I sent, you're very proud of your curriculum. He replied, I'm proud of your exit. No punctuation correct. By noon, a society blog posted a photo of Victor in the St. Roch's lobby with a caption about stewardship and taste. I scrolled past. It wasn't our room. At 1:22, Liam texted a picture of our kitchen table with the plant we keep refusing to let die basking in a practical rectangle of sun. Room exists, he wrote. The week attempted to behave like a Bordeaux flight, organized, suggestive, allergic to weather. Victor sent a revised pledge with fewer adjectives and more commas. Liam read to the part where the commas started behaving like a harness and set it face down. He came to me and pressed his forehead against my temple for a count of 7. We allowed breath to own the room again. 2 nights later, the St. Rock held a proper tasting. Honest tickets, real people, the kind of laughter that tastes expensive because it's been chilled. We went together, because sometimes the correct grammar is plural. Jonah nodded once from the service hall like an usher who had chosen a side. Victor shook Liam's hand under a chandelier that thought it was a metaphor. A reporter asked about legacy. Liam pointed toward the pastry team plating desserts in synchronized quiet and said, "Legacy is what keeps rooms gentle when you're not looking." And the reporter wrote it down like she had earned a truth. On the way home, we cut through the market where night stores its buckets. Liam slid 2 fingers into my back pocket in the way that says not mine but here, and the city chose to mind its business. We burned the leftover bread and ate it anyway. At the bedroom door, he kissed me the way good sentences land, without ornament, unavoidable. I answered like verbs were the last honest currency. It did not stay tidy. It never does here. An anonymous account posted a grainy still from a cellar camera, 2 silhouettes by a table, one with a hand too near to be polite. The caption invented entanglement, the comments rented outrage and billed by the breath. I put my phone down beside the plant and watched the plant win. Liam texted me a different picture. The cellar at noon. A sommelier calibrating a thermometer while a junior polished glassware until it forgot fingerprints. "Our version works for a living," he wrote. Sunday brought rain like an alibi. Jonah texted, "Back of house is quiet. Want a chair where nobody sells you a seat?" We went. He poured us paper cups of coffee that tasted like stubbornness and showed us the walk-in that lies when the door thinks it's being watched, the dumbwaiter that sulks in humidity, and the way you listen for the faint choke of a cork that wants to confess. He did not flirt with anything, not even the truth. He stood with his hands in his pockets and told us a joke about rich men who think tannins are personality. I liked him better for refusing to be necessary when he was. The following week, the hotel staged a luncheon to announce a scholarship program with more sincerity than budget. Liam spoke first, about staff and bolts and the joy of maintenance, the only speech that ages correctly. Victor promised to cultivate a city that knows the taste of its own generosity, a sentence that managed to spend nothing and still receive applause. After, he shook Liam's hand, and then looked at me with the careful respect of a man evaluating whether he cannot purchase. "You're both very good at exits," he said. "Practice," I said. He laughed because it was the only honest thing left on his program. A columnist with a talent for adjectives implied Liam's access owes to private tastings. The piece included a photo of bottles that could have been any bottles and a paragraph that could have been any rumor. The comments performed their choreography. I took the plant to the sink and let the water negotiate peace with the roots. That night, we turned our phones face down and pretended the stove could forgive us anything. On a wet Thursday, Jonah texted a single word, weather, and we met him in the alley where the rain mispronounced the dumpster lids. He showed us which drain floods first, why no decent person trusts a door that apologizes, and where to stand when thunder asks if you're sure. He didn't ask about the photo. We didn't say his name out loud. 3 people wide beneath a corrugated awning, we let the storm tidy up the gossip. Life kept not being simple. Victor kept sending commas that wanted homes. Liam kept returning them with better ones. The plant kept inventing a superior shade of green. We kept our calendar squares blank on purpose because blanks are the only promises rooms respect. Sometimes, after midnight, we walk past the St. Rock and look through the lobby glass at chairs waiting to be believed. You can't see the cellar from the street. That's as it should be. We circle the block and go home without letting the hotel perform at us. He takes my wrist like a man reteaching himself the grammar of doors. I think about the cellar and the 2 minutes that were enough, about how some rooms try to own you and others teach you to leave correctly. Sometimes I think about Victor paused in the cold light like a man who wants to buy air and discovering it does not invoice. Sometimes I think about Jonah's line, "I opened a door," and how it's the only biography I want for this version of us. Tonight's square is empty. We're leaving it that way. Let the hotel keep its labels and the city its applause. We have the linen chute stairs, a plant we refuse to let die, and the quiet grammar of a decision that knows where it belongs. Not in a photo, not in a caption, but in the mouth that learned to say come home and mean it. If we get caught again, let it be by each other. The rest of the world can rehearse palate and pedigree. We'll be in the room that doesn't need it, counting breaths until they taste like relief, and calling that enough.